Manifest destiny. Manifest destiny is a term first used in the 19th century to describe the concept of America's mission to expand its territory and influence. It literally means a clear and obvious, predetermined fate. It is an example of divine providence. Manifest destiny was often the justification for government policy. The idea was that America was special and virtuous, and that the American society and government, derived from its Puritan roots, was inspired by God to guide everybody. Divine providence means intervention by God. So basically, manifest destiny means that the settlers of the new country have not only the divine right to take over the land, but that this takeover is inevitable. During the first half-century of the new republic, manifest destiny was the guiding principle for territorial expansion. The 1783 Treaty of Paris signaled the end of the Revolutionary War and not only freed the British colonies, but it doubled the size of the new and independent republic all the way to the Mississippi River. After that, the Louisiana Purchase of 1803 doubled the size of the country again. Now, the United States was bigger than any European country, and settlers were rapidly moving westward to settle this new land. Never mind that people had already been living there for thousands of years. Indian removal became the official government policy as the land was seen as a divine gift for those enterprising and virtuous enough to make proper use of it. However, the influx of settlers brought conflict, not only in the sense of displacing and fighting the native inhabitants, but also conflict among the Euro-Americans themselves, including opposing political groups, contentious court rulings, divisions in Congress, and general strife among the American people. In other words, the doctrine of manifest destiny was controversial from the start. Further controversy surrounding the idea of manifest destiny came with the annexation of Texas and Oregon territories in 1845 and 1846 respectively, followed by a war with Mexico a couple of years later that resulted in the expansion of the United States all the way to the Pacific Ocean. Thus, westward expansion of the United States reached its geographic limit at the expense of the population already living along the Pacific coast, as characterized in Walt Whitman's poem, Song of the Redwood Tree, which you will study later. In this poem, the tree serves as a metaphor for the American Indian who dies in order to make way for the expansion of the new republic. Though Whitman's tone is sympathetic to the Indians, he clearly celebrates the idea of American progress pushing westward and completing America's development as the answer to the Old World Order characterized by both Native America and Europe. As mentioned earlier, not everybody enthusiastically supported this project. Westward expansion under the ideology of manifest destiny set a deep division of Americans who disagreed not only with the expansion itself, but also the fate of the new territories. How would they be governed? And what kind of system would replace the existing social order? Well, half the country at the time was exclusively agricultural and depended on the institution of slavery, which itself was a highly controversial thing. The territory gained by manifest destiny was far from settled, in other words. This internal strife created by manifest destiny formed the groundwork for the largest crisis of all, the Civil War, the bloodiest conflict in American history. So, far from being a clear and obvious fate for the country, manifest destiny was the guiding principle for many Americans, while unacceptable to those who oppose the idea of this aggression, preferring a more natural development of the country in which the best way was determined by example, not conquest. Regardless, manifest destiny, as an ideology, is a good example of American exceptionalism.